Now, most of the time, the way they shoot things at the back is by making these controlled explosions, but the ion engine is not. The nuclear engine, I don't know what it represents in here. Since it still burns liquid fuel, I assume it uses the heat of the nuclear reaction to somehow ignite things without an oxidizer, but it doesn't... Yeah, I don't know how the nuclear engines are supposed to be working here. Someone probably knows in the chat, or the wiki probably has a description. Alright, we got 1 minute left to this burn. Dun, 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 dun. Yes, that's true. We could just send more Kerbals to Duna and just tell people we're starting a colony. One day we'll do that. Superheats fuel to the point of exploding. I mean, it's not an actual, like, nuclear explosion, is it? Maybe it is. Maybe that's what it is. I mean, if the liquid fuel is like hydrogen, this could just be a fusion engine. I don't know. Nuclear engines in KSP work by having wizard do it. There! I like it. That's my explanation. Each one contains the soul of a wizard. Oh, the nuclear reactor heats up and then makes the fuel expand rapidly, and then inject out the back. That's entirely reasonable too, especially if we're talking about liquid hydrogen as the liquid fuel. Then heating it up and expand it into a gaseous state would cause pressure that would cause it to go out the back. Totally. All right, maneuver is done. The maneuver. So what we can do now is some fine tuning about our path. Should we like that? Now this would have to be a pretty tiny little burn. So we're already looking to go a little bit south, which is fine. Let me go and what? Doesn't backspace return my view to my main vessel? It used to. Give me a quick save. Open up. Hey! Whoa! Ho! Hold on, Snoopy. Snoopy, hold on. Looks like you can't re-keybind in here. I'd have to go do it from the main menu. I don't think I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure backspace is supposed to return me to my main vessel view. Kind of annoying. Snoopy with a big tip. Thank you very much. Does the tip feed reset every month? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Tip board just got more expensive. Well, here's some chocolate and whiskey for my favorite Canadian. Hashtag first on the tip feed. Hashtag petty. Hashtag save Bob. Thank you much, Snoopy. Appreciate that very much. Very generous. Thank you very much. And yeah, unfortunately, bad news for the multiplayer portion of the stream, where we usually have a little wee tipple to help the multiplayer, you know, be more fun. No whiskey around the house. However, I have, Briarstone was kind enough to offer to let me have a sip of some very special vodka he's got kicking around upstairs last night. So, I didn't have any last night, so maybe this morning or this afternoon. So we'll make do. I think we'll be fine. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm pretty sure backspace normally allows me to recenter. But, so what we want to look at here is there a very tiny little operation? There we go. Look at how far we've just shifted our orbit by like 1 million kilometers. Actually, more than that. 6 million kilometers just shifted our orbit with a 1.8 meter per second burn. Microscopic little burn. So I'm just going to try to shift it so that our orbit is going to be basically a polar one. I don't think this is the right place for us to do a normal anti-normal. Actually, that's not too bad. So just trying to bring it in here, such that we're going to be coming in polar. And we didn't care if we were coming in north or south. It makes no difference to us right here. Now, again, you don't need to be super accurate here, especially because it can be quite tricky, because it's such a small burn. And in practice, when you execute your burn, you're never right on. You're not pointing exactly the right way. You don't start at exactly the right microsecond. You don't burn exactly the right amount of fuel. It's hard to get bang on. So we're going to be close to this. And for right now, a tiny little difference has a huge side effect. So get close. because you're not going to end up, whatever maneuver you planned here, you're not going to get exactly right anyway, even if you use the maneuver, like MechJeb's automated maneuver stuff. Get close-ish, and then do another corrective burn later on. I mean, yes, ideally you use less delta V if you do it all now, but you're still only going to be burning a couple meter seconds worth of delta V when you do your corrective burn in like 200 days. So it's all right. So that's going to do that. So our burn's actually scheduled for 8 days from now. This 21.9 meter per second corrective burn is scheduled for 8 days. So we're going to do that. We're going to get ourselves going into a polar orbit. You don't have to be super accurate. Quote, Quill Space Program. That's right, the Quill Space Program. That's our motto. Even more than, what could possibly go wrong. You don't have to be super accurate. It's not rocket science. You want to save Bob and don't have whiskey. Who are you? Well, yeah, that's true. Well, here's the thing. I actually ran out this morning to run some errands, but the local liquor store wasn't open yet, so I wasn't able to do that. What do you think Bob's space pirate name is? Yeah, that's true. God, I gotta watch The Martian again. Fun little movie. Alright, there's our time warp happening automatically. Who's piloting this? It's a robot. We've got just a probe core. We've got a probe core that is piloting this. So that it's a one-seat capsule is what we've got here. Just got room for Bob. So it is reliant on having a signal. It should have a pretty good signal. Maybe not as strong of a signal as I thought. It'll be fine once it gets into Duna in orbit because it will have the satellite. But I thought... I was hoping that our satellite... I guess I should have used the really big one for the max signal, because I think as is we won't have enough signal to communicate to Kerbal back home. So we'll be very reliant on being within range of the satellite that's in orbit around Duna. There we go. So pretty close, but not actually bang on, but that's okay. That's totally alright. I would prefer that the periapsis be even lower, but we're okay. I can get information about Duna over here, which includes atmospheric height is 50 kilometers. Okay, 50,000 meters for the atmosphere height. So ideally, I'd like us to be maybe at 60,000 for the real tightest orbit. But I'm not going to do another correction right now. I'm going to wait until we're much, much, much closer. And again... Who changed my backspace command? Alright, I want to focus on my ship. Yes, the Hogan. Come on. I literally can't change my focus on anything. Focus on Moho. Backspace. No. I want to focus on my ship. Okay, that's okay. Here's what we can do. We can go to the tracking station, and then just bop back to my ship. And then it should be recentered to me. The Hogan. Fly. Yeah, you can cycle with tab, or I think shift tab goes backwards. Man, we'll have to recheck the keybinds. Alright, so now we're back centered on that, which is okay. I mean, I didn't need to be centered, it was just driving me crazy. Alright, we're not locking our rotation anyway, we've got plenty of power. The signal, very sketchy. So yeah, this was not quite the right antenna. I thought with the updated transmission center at home, I thought this would be enough, but I'm wrong. That's all right. Once we get close to Duna, we'll be picked up by that satellite, and hopefully we'll have a solid signal. So at this point, all we're waiting for is for us to reach Duna, which admittedly is going to take a little while, but we should be fine. So I'm going to go and do a time warp here. That's 157 days we're time warping. Shift tab goes backwards, but make sure you don't have the nav ball up. Why? What difference does the nav ball have? Also, why are we dropping out of the time warp? Oh, I know why we're dropping out of the time warp. Because this is the alarm clock for the actual sweet spot for the the Kerbal to Duna transfer. I left a little bit early. That's alright. Warp to here. Oh, right. Shift is thrust. Aha! Right. Yes. Right. How long is the stream going to be? Well, I'm hoping... Honestly, I'm hoping we're executing the landing within 30 minutes. If not considerably sooner, honestly. And then after that, returning, and then, you know... Usually we stream single player for about 3 hours. It'll depend sort of on how the missions line up quite right, and then usually we switch over to multiplayer for maybe about an hour-ish. But those numbers might change. By the way, the multiplayer for today is going to be Dota 2. 10 v10s. Lots of room for people. A lot of times we don't fill up entirely on subscribers. So if that interests you, you may want to keep your attention to that. Actually, make sure your Dota 2 is updated in Steam. Even if you've never played before, it's fine. Or just for funsies. Alright, I guess I'm going to have to do this again. I don't know. Okay, so we got that, and then our path is over here. And control locked. I can't add another maneuver because I don't have probe control right now. We don't have a signal. Okay, which is fine. Our maneuver's totally okay, but yeah, I definitely packed the wrong antenna. Oh well. Let's do the time warp. Vroom. Blaze, thanks for the sub. And right before that, we had the real Appy as well. Cheers, thank you very much. So I was going to do a long-distance corrective burn, but we could do it like when we're closer, or in fact, we could do it when we're within the sphere of influence as well. I'm surprised it hasn't picked up the new antenna yet. I don't know. Oh, there we go. There we go. Yeah, alright. So this is really... I really packed the lunar antenna, not the intergalactic one. Which is too bad, because I was actually hoping that we don't have to use the satellite when we were on the wrong side of Duna to communicate with Kerbal. But as such, we have to rely on it 100% of the time. And we're going to be eclipsed part of that time. Especially if we're in a lower orbit. Okay. We are now correctly in orbit around Duna. And I still can't backspace. Oh, that's so annoying. So annoying. So, what I want to do is I do still want to get into a tighter orbit here. Which at this point, this is the right thing. I want to leave the periapsis marker up here. And I would like to get into, yeah, somewhere around there. Because 50,000 meters is where the atmosphere is. So I'm going to do that. We're lined up nicely for a polar orbit. We'll go and get ready to execute this maneuver. We need a 6 meter per second burn. We still have 600 meter per second left in our current setup here. Which is awesome. Try the tilde key instead of backspace. I will do that. Quick save. Did they change the default keybind? They changed the default keybind. That's okay. I'm totally okay with tilde. Or tilde. Totally okay with that. That's fine. But yeah, it used to be backspace. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate it. You know what it was? Here's the thing. I had previously, I would basically had just installed the 1.2 update and everything over what I already had, right? And so it kept all my old hotkeys from ages ago. But what happened recently, or actually yesterday, I was trying to get everything 100% set up here. I actually, deleted, well, I backed up, but I deleted my whole Kerbal install, did a fresh install, then just installed, the couple of mods and transferred over my save file. And as such, I lost a lot of my settings. I had to redo my visual settings and things like that, and it clearly set us to the new standard, which is probably ancient at this point, the hotkey. Okay. So we've got U in place. We've got a signal now, which means I can keep planning maneuvers, which is good. But the problem is, I don't remember, is there a way, there's a way to snap a maneuver to something. Oh well, that's alright. Anyway, what we're looking to do is go into an orbit here. Kind of an awkward angle, but it's going to work. So we're just going to bring down the new apoapsis to be roughly circular. And it doesn't have to be perfect on the first burn, because we can always just burn a second time. When we come around to the periapsis again, I could just do another retrograde burn. It's kind of hard to get the angle from here. I suppose I could focus on Duna again, but this is going to be okay. So this should put us in a 90/60 orbit, which is not circular, but it's circular-ish, and then we can tune it in the future. So this is going to be a 700 meter per second burn. Yeah, we packed a crazy amount of fuel. That's good. Makes life easier. So we're going to point ourselves to the node. Actually, I guess I'll just tell you to execute next node. Let me save first here. I don't think this will get confused in case we lose the signal. Here's the thing. In Kerbal 1.2, like in the Kerbal built-in sort of satellite signal setup over here, if you don't have a signal, you can still turn your thrusters on and off. Right? In the way to think about it is, if you played with remote tech, you could program in commands and say, like, at a certain point, execute these maneuvers. So even if you didn't have a signal, your probe could still produce those maneuvers, perform those maneuvers. Vanilla Kerbal doesn't have that flight computer built in. But as sort of a midway point, if you don't have a signal connection, you can still go to 100% thrust or 0 thrust. You can't, like, tune your thrust, and you can't steer. But if you point yourself to the maneuver node first, then you can still basically execute your maneuver effectively as if you'd programmed it, but without needing to implement a programming interface. So that's good. Right, the maneuver planner, or there's a maneuver editor in here. Maneuver node editor does have a snap to periapsis feature. That's true. Wasn't sure if there was one just built into vanilla, but this is going to be pretty close. Yeah, I could have moved the node to be closer to the periapsis. Who needs efficiency and accuracy? We actually have a connection still, just barely. Actually, you know what? We'll lose it just before we hit the maneuver node, most likely. This is, wow, that's an almost 3-minute burn again. That is crazy. Now, it should auto-stage. So, what I want to do, though, is for the bits that are going to detach, so you, retract you, and you. They're cooling. Hopefully, they're not needed right this second. This is a long burn. I'll have to babysit it. I still have my connections, that's good. Clips through the planet a little bit, but you know, that's okay. How can this pop up? Go away. Thank you. Oh, that frame rate, it's like chunky sometimes here. I don't know if it's like loading in planetary stuff, could have something to do with the UI. It's like the frame rate's fine, and then it's not, and then if I rotate the screen, then it sort of gets a little funky. It's probably something about all the UI stuff I've got over here. But that's alright. So we still have 1.5 minutes left in our current stage. Actually, you know what? This stage is going to almost, but not quite, see the maneuver through. Efficiency and accuracy are irrelevant. Cool space program. That's right! I don't know if the freezing's from them. I only have a couple of mods, and normally, but it could be. It could definitely be. Whee! Like, I don't know what it is. The fact that it's happening regularly to me tells me it's a garbage cleanup, like a garbage collection routine in the, in C# going on, but I don't know. It's long been a thing. We still have a lot of parts with some interclipping, but it's not like it's the world's most complex ship, especially not right now. Nuke's heat was severely nerfed. 0 radiators needed even for the long burns. Oh, really? Oh. Well, that's dumb. We could have saved some Delta V and a little bit of money. But yeah, it's like every 2 seconds, there's that. And that's the garbage collector cycle. I don't know what it's garbage collecting. It could be UI stuff. Like, let's say I close some of these windows here. No, it's still there. And you can see it on the debug screen, performance. Like, we'll be able to see it from time to time, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, see these down spikes? It's very inconsistent. So I don't know. It's about time for us to do the stage, though. I'm going to retract all the radiators, just to make sure they don't get in the way. Wait for it. 8 seconds. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and stage. It's a good thing we're slowing down. Goodbye, engines. How come? What's going on with the? Oh no, I guess that's yeah. It's entirely reasonable that you guys aren't completely full. Where is it? No, wait, what? Why aren't you completely full? In a sense, we should have staged those side things off ages ago. Eh, whatever. Alright, so, let me get my orbital information back up here. Orbit, and we'll need the surface info after this, too. What the fuck, periapsis? What the f... What? Why is my lowest apoapsis here? Something completely effed up with this maneuver. I guess I should have done this one manually. It's okay, that's what quick saves are for. If the system literally effed up. How did that happen? You know what's odd, though? We're actually pretty goddamn close to the landing site. We're surprisingly close to the landing site. You know, I was just going to revert to a quick save. But... you are full tank, right? So these are draining correctly now. Is that other set of tanks did not drain... Yeah, we wasted a little bit of Delta V by hauling more tank and engine for a long time than we needed to. I mean, we're still in decaying orbit, but now, like, the decaying is a little further away, and as long as we keep sort of burning over here... We still have the quick save. Should this prove to be, like, non-viable, but... I'm intrigued, you know? I was gonna say, how are you still burning? You're done. try to just pitch up a little bit here to give us a little bit more time. Well, that's not really what we need, but as long as we're burning mostly normal here. This is getting closer and closer. Nah, we'll not be able to make it. So I'm just going to revert to that quick save, because I don't know what happened. I took it for granted that the system was going to do the maneuver as expected. Maybe the maneuver was planned wrong to start off with, but yeah, I can't correct it. I might be able to, like, raise or orbit. No, it's not viable. I know I'm not going to make Bob walk that long. I've done that before. Technically, this is possible. I could just land here and make Bob walk. But that's very boring. So the ship had not been pointing at the right direction? I wonder... It had the signal, so I'm not sure why that was. It was in the maneuver planning, so it should have pointed to the node. First of all, in case this turns out to not work, I'm going to make a hard save here. We can always go back to it and just make Bob walk. But that would be boring. If I was doing this as a Let's Play, I would just do the landing as is, and then do a time lapse of Bob walking all the way over.